Welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. As always, do not forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you're new to detailing, check out our online course in the description of this video, and also you can support the channel through its private Patreon community with all its different levels of rewards and tierings. Sorry for the triple plug. Let's get straight into this video. Now, in this video, I'm going to attempt to go through all of the detailing products that I use from start to finish that you could use to detail your car, and I'm going to go through and explain why I use them. Now, I like to break detailing down normally into 4 categories, but to this video it's going to be 5 categories. What are those 5 categories? Washing, first of all the detergents, wash gear that you use to clean your car when you're outside and you're doing all that sort of stuff. What's the second one? Decontamination, so removing contamination, all the stuff around claying. Machine polishing, abrasives, all that stuff, you know, the machine polishing, big part of detailing. The protection products, waxes, sealants, ceramic coatings, dressings, all that sort of stuff, you know. Anything that's a protection product, you get the idea. And the 5th one, all the accessories around detailing, microfiber cloth, buckets, pressure washers, all the wonderful gumph that is very important. Gumph, actually, it's kind of like the backbone of all the stuff, all the tooling. So that's the premise to this video. Let's move on, keep the pace fast. Grab a pen and paper as well if it's going to help you with covering all the stuff. I'll try and as well put all the links where possible to anything I talk about in this video, and there's going to be quite a lot of stuff. So let's get stuck in. So step 1, washing. Now, this is all the stuff you do outside with water. Pre-washing, contact washing, getting the car wet, scrubbing it with foamy stuff, cleaning it off. The wet washing, if you like. Now, there's 2 sides to this. There are thousands of car wash related categorized products out there. For every different function of cleaning your car, there's a different detergent that's specialised for that, you know. Now the pitfall is you can end up seeing all this, and you can end up with, and I've been there, with shelves full of detailing products that you might not actually need. I'm not saying they're not bad, but you might not need them. So the way I approach this is I'm a minimalist, and I want to use the minimum amount of chemicals to give me the best results, and I want to store those chemicals effectively and efficiently. Now, with washing the car, I believe 99% of your work is going to be done by 3 products, and you can't really condense this down anymore. Some people would say you could do it with 1. What are those 3 products? Well, you're all probably screaming, get on with it. Pre-wash, contact wash shampoo, and all-purpose cleaner, the 3 backbone products. Now, what are the 3 products I use if you're new to the channel? Let's start with pre-wash first. I'd recommend you use the Bilt Hamber Touchless Pre-Wash. It's their new sugar soap one that I find is more effective on road film, although it can depend on where you live and all that sort of stuff. We talked about that in the Bilt Hamber one. If you're an auto foam user and you love that, that's their other pre-wash product. Stick with that. I'm switching to touchless, and at the moment I'm loving it. Why do I use touchless pre-wash? It's relatively affordable, and I find it just does an amazing job of stripping out road film on the car and dirt, even on the underbody of the car. Incredible. And it's a safe chemical that's very, very sort of mild and skin safe and eco-friendly. It really is. So it doesn't contain any like carcinogenic, nasty hydroxides and all these sort of harsh cleaning chemicals that are commonly used, because you can use tiny amounts of them and they're very effective, very caustic and very strong, and they're cheap. Bilt Hamber don't use that. They use higher quality surfactants that are a bit safer and stuff like that. So done all. You know why I love Bilt Hamber as a brand. Really good, and the products are affordable as well. Now you need to deliver your pre-wash through a snow foam lance, or if you don't have access to free flowing water and you're in a flat or something, then you can get a pump sprayer, and I've got this 2 litre IK foamer, IK2 I think it's called, foamer, not the sprayer, foamer. So you could fill that up with your touchless and foam the car. You know, it's hard, you're improvising if you don't have running water, but you can do that. You've got to rinse it off afterwards. You're going to have to get one of those, you know, pressure washers that's feeding from a bucket or something, or one of, just, I don't know. Let's assume you've got water. Now, you're going to be using a snow foam lance. I use a PA lance, which is the Italian lance, with a modified 1.1 orifice and hollow tip rounds. I love getting that joke in. PA lance, 1.1 orifice, Dr. Dirt flask, hollow tip rounds. Okay, so the PA lance this is an Auto Bright one. They're 40 quid, but the flasks aren't good. So Imran sells this Dr. Dirt flask. This lance has been incredibly reliable. We are going to be buying virtually every lance on the market soon and comparing them, but we'll save that for the video. You can buy very cheap lances, or you can pay an absolute fortune for lances. The cheap ones still last. What I'll say about the quality of snow foam lances is the Italian PA ones do have better quality filters in them, and the filters are expensive if you want to replace them, but you take them out, clean them every now and then. Okay, we'll talk more about lances later on. Lances are not complicated machines. There's no like little engine or motor in here, or fins or fans. It's just orifices and holes. You know, there's no reason really why they should cost that much money, but they are expensive, unfortunately, some of them. So we'll talk more about that later on. So that's pre-wash, snow foam lances. Now let's talk about contact wash. We'll pan the camera over to the other boudoir of chemicals. My other boudoir. Over here, you can see all my main chemicals. Let's get these out of the way that I use. I keep in these plastic bottles. These bottles you can buy from a company called the Plastic Bottles Co. So that's short for company. The Plastic Bottles Company. And they're PET Boston 1000mm bottles with the 28mm cap and 24 centimeters high. And these are Tolco Proportioners that cost about 4 or 5 quid. And you can set your level to the dose that you want for your chemical, and then you just squeeze. And let's do it with one with a bit more chems in it. So I put how much O&R I need. Actually, it should be about 40ml. Put 40ml in a bucket. So you adjust the dose by spinning this thing. And then all you do to dose it out is squeeze. And if you squeeze too much, this is where they're clever. Don't squeeze that hard or it comes out the little breather hole. But if you squeeze too much, anything over the level goes back down again, you're out of focus. And that is just brilliant engineering. Then when you've got the dose in, you take the cap off and then dose it out. So the only downside is that dose is stuck in there now until I have to tip it out. And that bugs me. So I've got to tip it back in there when you're off camera. Okay, so that's a little bit on the plastic PET bottles I use and the Tolco Proportioners. Now the contact wash product that I use is the Bilt Hamber Autowash, which, interesting, I'm going to talk about all of these products. This is the interesting stuff because I've been doing this YouTube business for so long. You guys tell me everything, so I can tell you what other people say about all of these products. Now Autowash, it's a high concentration, 1 to 2000 shampoo. It's all stripped out. There's no thickeners in it, no sodium-based, you know, salt-based detergents, you know. So it's a pure stripped-out shampoo. It's not especially foamy, although I've talked about it before. If you want to foam it up, you can. I use 10 ml of it to around 10 to 15 litres. So I just dose out 10 ml into my bucket. It doesn't smell of anything. It's not that foamy. Bilt Hamber, you know, it's not about the foam. It's not about the foam. The foam doesn't do anything. It's about the results. And this is what's interesting. And this is quotes from other people about the shampoo. Is that the results are always really good. It cleans the car. Doesn't leave any like films or residues on the panel, doesn't leave any soap stains. It's got water softeners in it, so it helps with water spotting. The results are always good, but yes, it does feel a bit like, budget's not the word, but it doesn't have the glamour of some of those shampoos that the detailing scene offers that are heavily scented and are really thick, dense suds. So if you want that, and I'm not going to say it's wrong or right, then you might not like this shampoo. And like I said to you, you'll all have a shampoo, so use whatever you like. But I've come to the conclusion that's the one for me. And it's, what's that noise? And it's extremely affordable as well. I'm just going to stop the camera. Okay, I'm back. It sounded like an afterburner. It's one of my neighbours. It's got like a gas cylinder with a thing on it, like a giant Bunsen burner. And he's lent it to me to do the weeds. It's pretty nifty, but it sounds like an afterburner on an aeroplane. It was like an aeroplane landing outside. Anyway, so that's Autowash. Use whatever shampoo you like. That's the second detergent in your lineup. And the third thing is the APC, the all-purpose cleaner. So I use the Surfex HD, which I've talked about so many times on the channel. I don't want to dwell on it. Use whatever APC you want to use. I use Surfex because of the potency, because of the value for money. Find it a very effective degreaser, grime breaker downer, and very cost effective, and at low concentrations absolutely fine on interiors. Knock it down 1 to 100 and just wipe over things on the interior to degrease them. Okay, so that's your 3 chems. That's the 3 bulk wash chems. I will also have a fallout remover. Which I'll use Surfex HD, I should have said, as a wheel cleaner and tyre cleaner and wheel arches and all that sort of stuff, a general purpose grime and, you know, grease and grime cleaner. But after I've cleaned my wheels, sometimes you get really stubborn dirt and you can just mist over a bit of fallout remover and then work that, and they're quite clever products, the way fallout removers work, and I think you should always have one. And I think they make superb wheel cleaners as well, so you know, if used sparingly as and when you need them. If I get your alloy wheels to a good state and you clean your car once every 1 or 2 weeks, then you can just use shampoo or APC. Okay, now some other products that I have in the wash category is the Atom Mac that I just spray on any ferrous components, brake discs, around 5% PIR. So I'll dose out 50 ml to a litre roughly and spray that on after I've washed my wheels, after I've dried the car. That's the point, then, to spray a little bit on the wheels and just leave it there to transfer. These dispensers here are Burkle dispensers that you can buy from a company at the time I shoot this video. I hate doing that because then that company might stop selling them and then the video becomes defunct and I get loads more questions. Quit your whining. These are Burkle 5 litre dispensers with compact spigots. They cost £35 each, plus VAT, plus delivery, which will prompt some of you to go into talking about the price. Anyway, we've done that. These are fantastic though. Fantastic. It's about the form. I'm going to digress. It's about the form. Look at the form of them. I couldn't find any other containers that would fit in here. And they're not water containers, okay? I know you can buy, when people say, John, you should have got these, and they send me a link to a water container, do you not think that I've Googled all of the cheap options already? Come on. It took me a long time to find these. This is lab grade equipment designed to hold chemicals. It's going to cost more than a water container. Yes, you could argue it should be cheaper. The spigot quality is very good. I do not have any leaks. Look, there's a live test for you. It took me a while to get to a leak-free situation with lots of PTFE tape and adjusting the seals and things like that. So, yeah, they're not been perfect, but any containers, I think, will have problems dripping. Cheap spigots will drip, I think, and that's, any drip is a no-no to me, and bad form is a no-no to me, because if I'm not saving space, they're pointless. Look at the space saving. Someone did mention about the amount of weight I've got on this shelf. Yeah. You're right. It's probably going to end up about a year's time. This shelf will give up the ghost. So I might need to put a bit of steel under there. I'm already thinking about it. God, this could be a long video. So that's our wash chemicals done with. Now, I also keep all my chemicals that I use now these IK sprayers because they look amazing. It's all about the bling. They're not the best, but they're all right. They're all right. There's a good draw on them and they feel elite and they're good enough for me. If I was in the trade doing it every single day, I wouldn't use these IK sprayers because they slip out your hand. They want to get away from you. There's sharp feel to them. There's a sharp feel to them, and then all that weight on this trigger, which is not so great. Just not, the design isn't there on them, which is, again, they look so good, and a lot of thought's gone into making them look nice, but some very basic areas around design and ergonomics and the trigger choice, they've made some poor decisions in my opinion. What do I know? What do I know? I'm just an idiot. But there's better ergonomic triggers, comfier triggers, higher quality triggers for me on the market. But I just love the fact you can like put a card in there. I think that's really clever. So they're good enough for me. And it's interesting, isn't it? You go with a brand, you know, you pick their product, and then I've gone and bought all the IK pump ones just because they kind of match. They're not the best products on the market in my opinion. Even the pump sprayers and stuff like that. Anyway, we're digressing. That's washing. After washing, we need to move on to the subject of decontamination. So we're going to do that right now. Next up, guys, claying and decontamination. So clay, soft abrasive putty with abrasive powders mixed in. Aggressive clays have got bigger abrasives and more abrasives. Finer clays have got finer abrasives and maybe less of it, so a bit more subtle. Now, these clay bars work by collecting, scooping up the contamination, fallout, sap, tar film, overspray, minerals, anything that's stuck on top of the paintwork that washing doesn't remove. I might have missed a few then, but glue, even glue, although, yeah. Anything that's stuck on the surface, you're sort of like, you know what, you're claying them off. Now, I use Bilt Hamber clay. Why do you use Bilt Hamber clay, John? We're surprised. UK made. It's half the price of most of the other clay bars, about £9.99 I think, or is it £8.99, 9 quid, 10 quid, don't know, for 200 grams of clay. The norm was 10, 12, 11, 13, they were creeping up, £14.99 for 100 grams of clay. A lot of that clay is made in China. So I'm supporting a UK company, and I'm saving money at the same time. And the third kicker, this clay bar, in my opinion, will test this out formally to you, but you can test it out yourself if you're interested. Get a rattle can if you've got any old rattle can sprays lying around. Put some overspray on a test bonnet. Don't do it on your real car. And then just try claying it off. Create overspray consistently over there. Let it dry for a day. Come back the next day and try and clay it off with Bilt Hamber clay. Test it to other clay bars. And what you'll probably find is the Bilt Hamber clay is more effective at removing it pound for pound. So you might compare, if you're going to compare a fine clay, then use the white one and compare it with other fine clays. If you're going to use a medium one, etc. With Bilt Hamber clay, I would always just use the white one by default for most cars. If it's a really dirty old car, then use the medium one. I can't remember if this is medium. Use the black one, which is the middle one. The blue one is the most aggressive, I think. That might be called regular. I can never remember, and I sometimes get them the wrong way round. God help me. The comments. Yeah, never mind. John, should I use clay cloths or clay pads? I've explored this, and my preference is clay bars. I find the first time you use a clay cloth, and it's brand spankers, it's quite good and quite effective. The surface of the clay is more rubbery on the clay cloth, and obviously you can't fold it, so the surface just builds up the contamination that you can't wash out of these clay cloths. And then the more you use these, the more marring, fine marring, like the surface of an old vinyl record with all those lines, the more that this will put in. And then it becomes a case of, I think you're removing less contamination and scratching more. Whereas with clay, you can just manage it a bit more. I find it's just, when you've got contamination there, especially behind those wheels, and you're trying to get it off and you're trying to get that smooth finish, it's harder to do it with this cloth than it is a chunk of clay. but you can cover like the roof and the bonnet really quickly with this stuff. So whatever you want to use, but my recommendation is use Bilt Hamber Clay. It's the white one. Now, clay lube, I use the Optimum No Rinse. Don't ask me about dilution ratios. There's a dedicated dilution ratio for clay lubes that you can go and Google. And there's a dedicated dilution that you use it as a waterless or rinseless wash solution, which is about 256 to 1. That one I will tell you, I'll give you that one for free. Even tells you on the bottle what the clay lube dilution is. The problem with ONR is it's all in fluid ounces, that jibber jabber. Who come up with that fluid ounce stuff? So you have to try and translate it into millilitres. Bloody fluid ounces. That's what I use as a clay lube. If a car's really covered in clay, do a little contamination, do a little test spot behind the wheels down the side of the car. If your clay is all brown, then you're going to benefit from using a tar and glue remover first. So before we do that, we'll do fallout remover. Again, if it's heavily contaminated, it's probably got loads of embedded fallout on the side of it. So you can do a little test spot with your fallout remover and see if there's all purple bleeds on the side of the car. I would recommend before claying a car that you go down the paintwork and put some fallout remover on and just spread it with a wash mitt, give it a bit of a chance to dwell, and then wash it off, because it doesn't take very long, but it's going to shrink all of the fallout in the surface and make it easier to remove. I think your claying will be more effective and you'll do a better job of your decontamination for a very small amount of money. You don't have to use tons of fallout remover when you're doing a car. Just mist a bit on the panels, mist a bit on your mitt. You know, start with another mitt, get another bucket of clean water if you like, and you'll see you can create a film quite easily without using lots of product. That's all you need to do. Rinse it all off, dry the car. Then when it's dry, you can do your tar and glue if you want to. If you want to do your tar and glue before your fallout remover, you've got to dry the car off, do your tar and glue, where you spray it onto, you know, you can spray it onto the panel, but you can spray it onto an applicator and make a film, and then, you know, get a clean microfiber and wipe it. But you need a dry car, really. So you don't want to dry your car off, do your tar and glue, and then get it all wet again. Plus, that tar and glue, you'll notice, is still on the panel, and you've got like loads of beading from the tar and glue, which is probably going to interfere with your fallout remover. I don't know. Anyway, do it whichever way round you want, but I would do the fallout remover first and tar and glue as an optional thing afterwards. And then go in and do your claying. Once you finish your claying, you don't need to rinse ONR, which is a benefit. You can just buff over the panels again and remove the ONR residue if there's any. Shouldn't be too much if you're using it at a lower concentration, but you can get a little where you're spraying it on and claying and moving on to the next section. If you don't buff that clean, that ONR can dry as quite a thick film and it will just need a buff off. You know, that's what I find. But great ONR as a clay lube because it's cheap. You know, if you want to spend £10, you'll get through like 500ml easily when you're doing a car. And, you know, do you want to go and buy another product that you've got to keep an inventory in your stock of clay lube when you can just use, you know, waterless wash? Great. When picking a clay lube, make sure your prerequisite is that it doesn't leave anything behind on the panel, because you don't want to be preparing a car for polishing, you know, which is what claying is essentially, and then leaving material on the paintwork prior to polishing. So, there's a little thing on clays. And that's decontamination covered, so I'm going to stop the video. How long was that segment? 7 minutes. It's quick for me. Right, and now we're going to go on to abrasives. This is just getting ridiculous. So the police siren going off, Chainsaw Texas Massacre, and now the old dive bomber's back. Anyway, you're going to have to put up with any background noise. Sorry guys, a nightmare. One day I'm going to get out of this city, the smog, find myself a house in the arse end of nowhere, if that's still possible to do in England, where there's no noise apart from the cows, and if they moo when I'm doing a video, you know, I get the old shotgun out. I'm only joking. I'll use a rifle. I'm only joking. Abrasives. I do 99% of my work. I sound like an assassin. With heavy cutting compound, mid-range cut and finish type product, low cut compound, and all out finishing polish, or dehologrammer as Koch call it. 3 products. I think that's your bare minimum tools. Big hammer, medium sized hammer, little tiny hammer. It's effectively what they are. They're pure abrasives that don't leave anything on the panel. Yes, they're defunct now, or the newer versions are H9, F6 and M2. I've got the F6 here. Sorry, the M3, so they're more recent abrasive developments. So I think Koch, or Co, however you pronounce it, don't hit me with that pronunciation stuff. If you keep telling me I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'll pronounce it wrong just to annoy you. That's the kind of guy I am. So H9, F6, M3 have replaced them now. These will last me for a long time. I've got cupboards full of abrasives. That's the biggest problem. You only really need big hammer, medium hammer, small hammer, pure abrasives with no waxes in them or sealants or stuff like that. To do paint correction, what you see is what you get, paint correction, rather than a filling effect, or not a filling effect, bespoke fillers. So no bespoke fillers in any of these, despite what anyone will tell you. So any product, any polish that you mention, someone will put in the comments that it's full of fillers, because that's how. I don't think anyone said it with Koch, but they say it with Sonax. They've said it with virtually every other abrasive. That's how you damage the reputation of a product, by saying it's got fillers in it. So a lot of that skullduggery goes on. Don't listen to any of it. Chemie, or Koch Chemie, however you pronounce it, are world leaders in automotive abrasives. German company. Germans are very good with the abrasives, chemical engineering, and they've been doing it for their Koch, one of the oldest detailing brands on the planet. They're one of those ones that have been around for a long time, and they've been specialising. It's been that area of specialising, and they are specialists in abrasives, and they're fantastic. One of the things the Chemie products do is they finish down very well, even with the heavy cutting products. They can finish down even on soft paints. They never really give me any problems with deposits, with bedding down. I don't find them that difficult to buff. They're quite forgiving. They're good on the dusting front. They're just all you need, really. Yes, again, if you've got an abrasive system that you use, do not watch this video and panic and think, I've got to go and throw mine away and go and buy this. Carry on using them, because as I've shown you in that video recently, there's very credible alternatives. Shoal Concepts, Menzerna, the Angel Wax stuff. I want to explore that more because it's fantastic value. The Rupes stuff is high quality abrasives. Zvizza, very high quality. I'm forgetting stuff. Sonax as well, you know, and all those other brands as well that didn't make the top 5 can all be used to good effect. But whatever you want, really. Like I say, if you've got something there and it's working for you, carry on using it. Here's an example of something I keep as well. It's P3. So when it says P3, it means it's not a pure abrasive. So maybe it should be NP. So it's a cut and finish, so it contains wax. I've just bought, or I think I'm going to just go and buy, P6, which is their mid-range equivalent of F6 with a sealant in it. I'm not sure if it uses the word wax though. I'm interested in that. So that's a single stage AOI type mid-range cutting product. I just want to have a look at it. If it's made by Koch, I want to have a look at it. So that might be something else that I stock. But essentially, 3 products is all you need. With pure abrasives. I also have a metal polish here, and I use white diamond. You get, it's about 20 quid, but it's not expensive because you're getting 355 millilitres of it. I'm sure there's cheaper polishers out there. I use this because I saw how well it did in the PVD Pro Detailers magazine mega test, and needs a good shake. It's got a bit of a rubbish lid because it's chokes on the lid of it. It's a bit, could do with some more emulsifiers and glycerine in there to make it a bit more homogeneous, a bit more creamy. It's a bit watery, but the results are really good with it. I also have the Bilt Hamber cleanser fluid. Don't say that. Cleanser polish. Don't get confused. Don't get confused. Forget I said that. Cleanser polish. What's the difference between the polish and the fluid? The polish is an abrasive AOI with fillers. You use this to beautify your paintwork and fill with resins and prime that paintwork. Gives you a lovely silky glossy finish without, you know, doing proper paint correction. So I use this product very rapidly on a soft pad and just whiz it over a panel, let it dry, let those resins set, buff it, and you get that smooth finish, and then you can put your wax on top. So really nice product this actually. The bottle has been improved. It does, when it goes cold, it thickens up a bit. So you've got to shake it to get it all, you know, homogeneous. I like that word. I got a new word. So that's pretty much all of the abrasives I use, and I'm looking at P6 from Koch to see if that's something I can introduce. I'll talk about machine polishers a bit later on when we go on to the accessories section and how those machine polishers team up with those abrasives. Is there any other abrasives you want? Maybe a glass polish might be the only other thing. You can use these cutting compounds to clean your glass up as well a little bit, but they're quite oily. So it's up to you. There we go, that's the abrasives. Very simple, isn't it, guys? And then finally, last stage protection products. The thing that we all chase. We're all chasing like the latest and greatest. We all do it, I do it. I get enjoyment out of it. I've said that many times, like just trying stuff. But I have a pot of double speed and I have a pot of Finny wax here, and I don't want two. Two is duplication. Two is bad. I need to decide which one of these to use on. At the moment, I'm leaning towards Finny wax, even though it's twice the price. So they're simple paste waxes that you put on a panel and they dry cure, and they don't contain oil in them, so you get a full cure. You see it drying out. If you ever see a wax and after 10 minutes it just won't cure and it's still quite fresh and slimy, then it's probably got some oils in it, you know, some form of oil, synthetic or organic, that won't vaporise, so you've always got a bit of wax and oil. And if they have that in there, those types of waxes, show waxes, don't ever tend to last so long, in my opinion, although there might be exceptions to that. But I like a dry curing wax. Now these products are roughly, you know, they're similar. Bilt Hamber using similar solvents in them from what I can see. You know, they've probably learned how to make a wax many years ago, and then they sort of make other waxes and stuff like that, but there'll be similarities in their approach. So this sort of product has hydrophobic polymers in it which help it bead but make it a little bit more sticky and make it a lot cheaper as well. And if you compare the two, you will probably come to the conclusion that the double speed wax has better durability because it seems to bead for longer. But I don't think it does. I think this lasts just as long, but because it's primarily carnauba without all these hydrophobic polymers in there, you just don't see it in the degradation of the hydrophobicity, the beading, because it pushes the water away less naturally. You know, the material that's on the car is not as hydrophobic. When it gets degraded or gets masked a bit, that push or lack of push is also amplified. So the whole subject of durability we've talked about for a long time on the channel. There's an obsession with durability around the country, and it's like, why? Why is there this obsession? Because you've got products you can just hurl on every wash. Spray and rinse products, ceramic detail sprays. So easy to apply. Stuff you don't even have to buff. You just spray it on, rinse it off and dry your car. Why are we so obsessed about having durability in our product? I don't know the answer to that. I can prattle on for ages. It is nice to have the zing, isn't it? The zing keep going on you. But anyway, who cares? So that's what I use protection wise. Now, John, that's just the paste wax. Paste wax. Wax is dead. Wax is dead. That's what I use. But I have a little secret stash. Let's go to the secret stash. Because, yeah, as well as just having one product, I like to try different things. And you can get bored with just using the same things all the time. So I have my secret stash in here. This camera work's going to be awful, isn't it? Can you see that? My Gion stash. And here's a phenomenal little combo for you. Gion ceramic detailer, the new Gion wax and wet coat. These give you pretty much everything. And they're not expensive, but you're going to pay a lot more, or relatively more, like about twice the price, or even more than using the Bilt Hamber wax and like the Bilt Hamber QD, which we'll talk about later on. But sometimes it's nice to have something different and a bit of bling. I really do rate these products as well. The Gion wax I think is fantastic. People are saying they only get 1 month out of it in real world terms. I bet you don't. I bet you don't. I bet you don't. I bet you'll just... It's another subject that I need to go and delve into. So first of all, I've had it on my car for I think longer than a month, and it's still buzzing. But my car's outside now, but it's in the garage, so that makes a hell of a difference. I know that. And I've also used the ceramic quick detailer when I've been washing it, so it kind of adds to the top up the protection. But I bet you it lasts more than 1 month. I don't know what Gion does, but did Gion only claim a month? Someone said. I'd be very surprised if they only claim a month, but they're very honest. And Gion are one of the companies that claim a lot less. Like they claim like 6 weeks protection with their ceramic spray. I've not heard of any other company that claims 6 weeks, because people want 6 months on the label. So it's very good of them to do that. I really trust Gion with their ceramic, with their durability claims. They don't seem to care about over-claiming, which I like. Those products are really, really good as well. And you can have whatever. In my cupboard, I've got super resin polish and ultra high definition wax, because I think that's a great combo. I've got the Meguiar's hybrid ceramic spray that I like to bust out every now and then. I like the Meguiar's 3-in-1 wax. So that's like a polish, wax, primer, cleaner, everything in one. I think that's quite a good product. Even though it doesn't have amazing durability. I've got the Turtle Wax Rinse and Shine, and I've got that graphene stuff in there, and I might just bust it out just to try something different. So I have a few backup plans. Use any wax. Some of you guys comment to me, John, you know, I use this tin of paste wax, and I think I have not heard of that one. I go and have a look at it, and it just looks like a tin of paste wax, and it costs like about 20 quid, and I think, yeah, fair play, good on you. I'm sure it's absolutely fine, so use whatever you want to use. We've got to carry on with LSPs. Dressings. So I have some of this tack seal here, which is similar to CarPro Pearl. It's like a silica dressing that you dilute down 3-to-1 for exteriors, 1-to-1 for tyres, 1-to-5 for interior plastics. Look at that, I reeled that off. Yeah, I'm not so sure about this product. I'm not so sure about it generally. It's good. It's definitely nice as an interior thing at 1-to-5. Just on a little microfiber applicator, and you cover it over, and it gives a bit of depth and a tiny bit of sheen to things. So it's good on the interior. Exterior, it's good as a plastic dressing as well, and gives you a good gloss. As a tyre dressing, I don't think it's that good. I don't need to really dress any of my cars, you know, interiors and stuff. I don't use really any interior dressings, even on that ancient car there, my E36. Doesn't need it. And neither does my other car. Now, where am I going? There's so many things to talk about. Where am I going? Where is it? Here it is. Now, the next thing in LSP or protection products, Bilt Hamber QD. Now, over here, I bought one 500ml bottle of Bilt Hamber QD for 14 quid, was it? Something like that. I mixed that with 450 millilitres of deionized water. That gives me 5 litres of detail spray at 1-to-9. 450, 500ml to 450 is 1-to-9, isn't it? I think, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Works great at that ratio. I use it, if I spray all this over those plastic worktops, you can just see in the background. When it dries, they're all nice and smooth. And if you pour water on them, you can see that the water is like beading up a little bit on the surface. Not massively, but a little bit. So it puts like a layer of something which dries and forms like a little glossy shine over the surface, which is what a detail spray does. That's at 1 to 9. I think 1 to 9 is a really good usage ratio. It doesn't, when you spray it onto your panels, you wipe along it and it creates like a little film. You see that little hazy film, and you just flip your cloth and you just buff it, and the hazy film vapes out and it disappears. So I find it's really good detail spray as well. It also contains the charged polymer stuff, so the similar tech to the waterless wash, where it's suspending the dirt with a certain type of surfactant. Sounds like all complicated. That's just not. Just a certain type of surfactant which works as a waterless wash, like a lubricant for dirt, encapsulation. And I trust their pedigree with all that sort of stuff. This detail spray is so versatile, it can be used for so many different things. And the icing on the cake is you pay about £1 a litre for it. Something like that. You pay about £1 a litre rather than £15 a litre or £20 a litre with some of these other spray stuff. Yes, you don't get the bling, you know, silica sprays are really nice, but it's a tool, that Bilt Hamber QD, and I didn't like it that much. I thought it was really glossy at like 1 to 1, but could be a bit streaky. And that's just because of that concentration. At 1 to 9, sometimes it's all about understanding a product, and once you get to grips with it, you then get the value. And I went back and revisited this Bilt Hamber QD and played around with it, used it at different ratios. I felt 1 to 20 as a drying aid was a bit too weak. I wanted a bit more going on, and I didn't want to have all these different mixes of it. I found that sweet ratio, 1 to 9, is a really good ratio with DI water. Phenomenal product now, and I'll never use anything else. And I spray the Bilt Hamber inside my car. I wipe out all my door cards with it, put a mist of it over there on the microfiber and spread it, and it just gives a nice consistent finish, a little bit of sheen. It's very subtle at 1 to 9, but it works. And you can also use it as a duster, you know, like you'll pick up any dust on the door card, so you can spray over it and detail the door card and rubbers. It's not strong enough at 1 to 9 to really do much to rubber or anything like that, but it's nice over the vinyl plastic door cards and dashboard wipeouts. You're not going to have to deal with any kind of residues at that concentration. So that's another reason why I'm not too fussed about having a sealant, you know, like a dedicated sealant, but I've got the tack seal there if I need it. I might explore some other ones, but I could also use Bilt Hamber to just dress my engine bay covers and stuff like that. Spray it on, give it a wipe. Again, I'm not a big fan of dressing engine bays. Just not. I think a ceramic on the scuttle if you've got one, maybe on the engine bay cover if you've got one. Whatever. I don't think you need to cover them in dressings all the time. So, that is where we're at. Now, with LSPs, one other thing I forgot to mention. Here I've got 5 litres of Bilt Hamber cleanser fluid. This is now my tar and glue remover, if I choose as a precursor to use it, rather than TARDIS. I've kept my TARDIS though, because it's such a good product, but TARDIS is a very aggressive product, and this will do as a tar remover. It's a hydrocarbon thing. If you want to put a new wax on your car, but the car doesn't need decontamination and polishing, it's all nice and shiny, you could just wash it, dry it, go over it with the Bilt Hamber cleanser fluid and apply your wax. If you want to add a little bit of gloss, so you wash your car, you dry it, but you don't need to decontaminate it, you go over it with a cleanser polish, give it a good gloss up, and then put the wax down. If you want to decon your car, you could wash it, dry it, decon it, dry it. Use this to take out clay bar marring on a machine with a soft pad, and then wax it. So you get the idea. Right. Let's just make sure we've covered everything that's in all of these chemicals. So Bilt Hamber cleanser fluid, that's a neat hydrocarbon. Bilt Hamber QD at 1 to 9. That's pure IPA. So another chemical that I use, because it's very cheap, is panel wipe, which uses pure IPA, so it's 99% proof IPA. I'll use 75% 99, no, get this right. So in my mix, I'll have 25% IPA, 99% proof IPA, 2% Surfex HD, 1 to 2%. You don't want it all foamy and frothy. You've put too much APC in if you do that. And then the rest, deionized water, so 73% DI water. I use that as a glass cleaner. I use that as an inspection panel wipe. I use that to spray on all sorts of things that I want to degrease as well. It's a bit similar to the Bilt Hamber cleanser fluid. Don't get me wrong. It's a hydrocarbon. It's more powerful. It's a more powerful solvent. It's slicker. It's smoother. But I wouldn't use it to clean my glass. I'd use a water-based one. The panel, you know, it's a water miscible solvent, the IPA. And I use it for inspection wipes, whereas I'd use that for a final wipe down. You've got duplication a little bit, but you need both of those products. They're different. You need a hydrocarbon and a water-based, you know, non-polar solvent. Another thing that I forgot to mention, fallout remover, the next one, citrus. So I've got this Karkem citrus cleaner. You don't really need that if you've got Surfex HD. I just really like this product actually. I'll try a different citrus when I finish this one. Really impressed with that. I use it at quite a strong concentration, 1 to 3 or maybe even 1 to 1, and it just works really, really well. Yeah, so I'm just pleased with that. And I tend to grab the Surfex, and I tend to also grab the citrus and stick it on my bucket, hook it onto my bucket when I'm washing the car. And sometimes I'm just looking at them and comparing them. Why do you need a citrus? A good citrus contains a water miscible solvent called D-limonene. Solvents dissolve. APC's detergents work by allowing water and oils to mix together. Solvents work by dissolving things. So D-limonene is a natural solvent that you find in good citruses, and that helps to dissolve grease in a different way to an emulsifier. And it's an organic solvent. The problem with citrus D-limonene is the price. There's some products that have it in very high quantities, you know, concentrated D-limonene citrus degreasers where they had it at 20-25%. And they'll appear a bit sort of, there'll be a whiteness to those. And then you get citrus APCs that actually say they're citrus and they don't contain any D-limonene. I don't know what the D-limonene content is of this Karkem product, but it seems to work well. And I'll just keep trying different ones. Ultimately though, I just have that because I think it's a nice thing, but you could cut that out and just use your Surfex HD. The next one is the Surfex HD, the touchless, and this is DI water in here, pure DI water. Should probably have 10 litres of that. You can get 10 litre containers, but then it wouldn't fit. I'll have to go over here. And that just allows me to mix out my panel wipe or whatever, the things that need DI water. What do I use tap water with and what do I use DI water with? If you're mixing out something to clean the surface like a panel wipe, don't use tap water because there's going to be minerals and scale and deposits in that tap water. You know, ideally don't use tap water. I know some people are going to be going, it's too extreme for me. Tap water works fine, but I don't. I use the DI water. If I'm using an APC, I'll use tap water because that APC is going to be rinsed off the surface anyway, so don't see the point. Although, oh man, every subject area there's a counter argument. But never mind. So I use tap water with detergents and stuff like that. So that's my rule. If it's something that's cleaning the panel or something like that, glass cleaner, panel wipe, whatever, mixing up a QD, a quick detailer, I use DI water. If it's something I'm going to rinse away to clean, use tap water. That is the last stage, protection, nearly finished. Down here, I have the Autoglym Tyre Gel. This is the dressing of choice for me at the moment. It won my dressings test. I've just ordered another one of these Boston bottles and I'll get a proper nipple for it. And I'll have a bottle that looks the same as these with this. And I've got another one of these on order, so I'll get a litre of it rather than it being half full, which will bug me. A curse. And then I'll have my tyre dressing. Why do I like this tyre dressing? I like the finish. It gives me a really nice dry finish. Look at this. I've got it on here. I can actually tell you. Look at this. Can't see what you're seeing. Forgive the dodgy thing. Oh, you probably can't see. I mean, look at that finish. This has been out for a drive as well, but only up and down the road. it's just a lovely finish, and there's nothing on here, so it's dried the product, and it's got a sheen, which is incredible. And there's nothing on my fingers. You know, my fingers don't feel like they've got anything on there, and it lasts well as well. It doesn't wash off, and it keeps that sheen for a decent amount of time, and it's pretty easy to apply to a panel. You just like slime it on. You know, it's a slimy product. You slime it on, and it's a little bit. You can work it, and you can just leave it or just remove any excess if you put too much on. Really good tyre gel. That is decent price. Does everything well. That's why it won the test. Here I've got Bonnyman's Extreme Green Wash Concentrate, which costs about £2 for a litre. You use about 100 ml of that per 5 litres. That's how much I use. It stinks. You smell the antifreeze in it. You've got it's mega concentrated, that is. So dilute it right down. It costs nothing. It works fine. The biggest problem with screen washes that I've come to the conclusion is don't over concentrate them, or you'll get soapy films all over your glass. You want them very dialed down. You know, you want them low concentration. And in the winter, you could just increase it a tiny bit to maybe 3%. But in the summer, 1 to 2% PIR mix in your, you know, washer reservoir, whatever it's called. O&R, Atomac, we've covered all these chems. We've covered all those. We've covered all those. There's those lances, buckets and stuff like that. So in here, 2 essential brushes. These are the wheel cleaning brushes. The EZ Go brush, the bog brush there, incredible brush that is, and the big EZ brush. They do 99% of my barrel cleaning, and the EZ does the wheel arch cleaning with a tough handle on it, so you can actually give it some welly and scrub it all out. Then, because I'm washing the car regularly, I find this is the best for the tyres. It's not very aggressive, so on really dirty tyres, it's only just going to scrub them quite mildly, but that's what I use, the Vican flat face brush. So brilliant, it lasts you a lifetime, this thing. And it's not expensive, it's only about 6 or 7 quid. I have an Atlasta brush in there that you kind of use, stubby brush, when they're really dirty and just nothing shifts it. You just poke into it and it gets into the wheelbarrows. It's an aggressive brush, but you need that with wheels. Get in there. Let's take and then I have, so we're sort of moving on to accessories here, aren't we? And then I have my wash bucket with the grit guards in there. And I have 2 soft tip brushes. Let me take these out. First of all, I keep them in these plastic things, which is like a sink caddy. So you can Google sink caddy. This is made by a company called Umbra. So Google Umbra sink caddy. Don't ask me for a link. Please don't ask me for a link. 4 different brushes. Let's just get these brushes out. Detail Factory Hog's Hair brushes and Detail Factory soft tip brushes, all out of focus. You'd think those little brushes are gimmicks and you'd never use them. I do. I wouldn't have them if I didn't use them. I wish they'd put them on the other end of the handle here though, so you'd have one less brush. There's a tip for you. That's a good idea, and someone will do it. Someone will do it, and once one person does it and it ends up on YouTube, then every single brush is the same. So the Detail Factory brush, they brought this brush out and everyone said, oh, it's just a makeup brush. It's £10, I'm not going to pay that. They were immensely popular because a makeup brush is like a cheap thing with a metal shroud around it, and it's not detergent resistant, and you'll never use it. It'll fall to bits on you. I've had these for years and years and years and years. So of course everyone copied the Detail Factory brush, and really around using the soft tips, you know, and just a really well designed handle. Yes, they are expensive, that's fair criticism, but they're brilliant, I think. Now I'm using these brushes. When they do eventually run out and wear out, I'll go and buy another one. And I don't use the cheap Chinese ones that you can get, the wooden stick ones. that you can get for like £1 on eBay or AliExpress. I just don't bother with them because they're just rubbish. That's just, you know, they work. There are some plastic cheap brushes that are half decent, but you know, that's what I use anyway. So what else? Over here we've got the solution finish. These are just some little extra things. I've got some odorators here. I've got the Turtle Wax one. I haven't used it yet. And I've got the Valet Pro one. They're just to kill off any organic matter. You know, like mould, bacteria if you spill milk or someone vomits in the car. Blood. The enzyme killers. I have the designer fragrance air fresheners. I talked about the Bilt Hamber bomb in another video. They're really good, those bombs. Really good, actually. Don't buy them as air fresheners though, because they're not. A few days later, you can't really smell the air freshener effect, but you can. They sort out odour issues in the car, I think, really well. I have some Bilt Hamber touchless here. These are spray and rinse type product that you can use to apply protection through a wash mitt or a lance, but you can also use them in pump sprayers at around 4% PIR. I pinged Bilt Hamber an email about that. Yes, you can use them in a pump spray at 4% PIR, and I shouldn't really say that because I'm going to do a video on it, and someone else will jump in there and do a video on it before me now. So we'll experiment with touchless at 4%. That means you can make a lot of spray sealant with one sachet of product at 4% PIR. So it becomes another great value product. And I love all that stuff. Love all the value. That's all of this. Oh, Jesus. What else? Lighting. We've got the Flex cordless lighting down here. Now this cost me a fortune. And yes, it's paid for. It's paid for. I put my wallet on the line. I can't remember how much it was. About 200 quid. And this as well, the stand. Very good equipment. You know, you do have to manage the batteries a little bit, but I've got loads of batteries to juggle with. High quality stuff. And I'm at the stage where I can now detail my cars in my garage cable free, which is phenomenal. It's taken away something that really used to bug me. I'm going around on the stall, even though I've got a charger running at the moment. I'm trickle charging my car. And I'd always be like running over the cable to the polisher or the cable to the light, moving the light and then dragging the extension lead around and effing and blinding. All that is gone now, and I've gone completely cordless, and I love it. You do have to juggle the batteries, that's the downside. Speaking of cordless, I've got this Flex vacuum cleaner up here as well. Again, bought. So my wallet, I put my wallet where my mouth is. I can't remember how much this thing cost. It was about, was it about 150 quid, something like that? Phenomenal little vacuum cleaner. Not because it's got the same power as a main big vacuum cleaner, but because it's got enough power. And I like bring my car in and I'll just grab that and then quickly hoover out the footwell, and it take me like 20 seconds. It just allows me to keep on top of it, and I might just sort of vacuum out the you know, the central console and stuff like that, where I don't need to do it all, and it just allows me to keep on top of the car, which I know is a bit, you know, not everyone does that. It's one of the perks of having this and having the garage. If you had it there and you brought your car in and you've just put like mud in there and you've kept your car detailed, you would do the same as me. You'd grab that quickly. Makes you feel better. Okay, that's everything over here. I'm going to end the camera. This video is going to be long. Oh my goodness me. Okay, so I use, next up, some more accessories. I use the Karcher K7 Premium Control Plus. It has tons of output and throughput, and it puts out a lot of water at a good pressure. In fact, you have to sort of knock the pressure down when you're using it on cars. Use it on the middle setting. Keep it away from, don't get too close to the paintwork, because it's very, very powerful system. It's a big heavy machine, which is great, so that when you set up the machine, you can pull, if you can see this, you can just pull and walk the gun away from the unit without it toppling over, provided you haven't built up pressure in this section. So if you build up pressure in that section, this all goes tight like a snake, and it will tighten on the reel. When you'll topple the unit over, it will lock. So if that happens, you can just quickly squeeze the trigger, let the pressure off, and then it will all unravel. Whenever you're using a pressure washer, position it so it can't fall on the car. First thing you do is walk it out so that you've got the hose at full length, and then when you're doing that pressure washing, walk it back towards the machine rather than the other way around, rather than walking it away from the machine. That can help you with it, you know, the hose not coiling up. Hoses are always a bit of a pain. Now, so that's this pressure washer, tons of power. It costs 350 quid for me. It comes with a 5-year warranty. It's a real solid powerhouse unit that I'm really impressed with. Karchers. The bad side of the Karchers are the guns that come with them. Okay, if you've ever owned a Karcher, let me just come up. Also got a little handle. This is a great unit. Most people though don't want to pay £350. In fact, these are about £400 or £500 without that cashback thing on a pressure washer. So if that's the case, you've got to go for the K5, the K4, or the K2. So you're going down the food chain towards the K2 at the bottom of the food chain. We all start with a K2, don't we? If you look after your Karcher pressure washers, they're all right. Always, when you finish with them, make sure you've got the pressure out between the gun and the unit. You don't want to keep that pressure in there, so always pop that pressure out. Bleed them out when you've finished, and then disconnect them and turn them off. If you leave them under pressure, you'll damage the seals. Your unit won't last 5 minutes. It'll be broken within a few months, and you'll be blaming Karcher, and you'll be quoting all the things you hear on forums. They've got plastic impellers in them, so they must break after 2 or 3 months. So I've had 3 Karchers in my life, a K2, a K4 and a K7. The K2 is still working. The K2 is still working. My mum's got that, and it must be God knows how old. Very, very old, but it works. The K4 I had for 7 years, and it left this garage still working. I gave it to my auntie, but she had problems with it about a year later, so it kind of conked out after about 8 years. It was fine when I gave it to her though. It was fine. You can see with the fingers out. That means something's gone wrong. It's her fault. I bet she wasn't popping the pressure out of it, which probably damaged it. This one down here, the K7, will last me millions of years, and it has a 5-year warranty because I will pop the pressure out of it when I finish using it. Now, if you don't prop the pressure out of your Karcher, they won't last 5 minutes, and they'll make funny noises, they'll break, they'll leak. And I've done a video on how to, about getting the most out of your pressure washers and stuff like that. I've seen firsthand people I know, I won't name them, that bought Karchers, not popped the pressure out of them, and they haven't lasted 5 minutes. So it's down to you. You can blame the unit if you like. Yes, now here's the thing. If you've got loads of money and you're doing this professionally and you need tools that are going to be running 24x5 or 12x5 constantly, then you might want to look at something like a Kranzel, which are sort of more industrial, higher quality. Yes, about twice the price, but that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's something to aspire to. So maybe one day I'll make the jump up from Karcher to Kranzel. It'll be a great day when that happens. Means I'm doing all right. The moment I'm still at poverty grade and I'm running the Karcher. You've made it when you get the Kranzel. Now, another downside of the Karchers, the guns that come with them, these big long plastic guns that come with the Karchers. In between the bit where you take off the nozzle and the gun, the Karchers are prone to leaving the little yellow plastic bit comes off, it shears off and it stays in the gun. And then you can't get anything else in there until you get a pair of pliers and fish them out. Like, you've got to get the pliers on it and pop them off and then put it back onto the nozzle. And then the next time you put the nozzle in, it'll come off again and stay in the gun. That is the worst design flaw I've ever seen. It's so bad, that design. I know Karcher will probably blame it on the end user, and I'm sure there's a reason for it. It's just awful. It really is. So what you can do is you can upgrade your guns. So quite simply, you take off the old gun and you put on this new gun. And I've been using this gun for a couple of years now. About that. Don't quote me on that. More than a year. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Be careful squeezing it. It's just fantastic. You get in there, you get into your wheel arch. You can get a quick release extension for it if you like, but I'm actually finding you don't need that for cars. Bigger vehicles mainly, but you can rinse off a car with this, get into your wheel arches and all that. You unclip the nozzles, and I just use white nozzles, they're fine for me. And you clip in your snow foam lances. You have to put the quick release fitment into your snow foam lance, and you pop these in and you're away. And it's much better than the Karcher system. And from what I remember, Karcher have no interest. So the whole of its market, you know, the detailing scene, people that are into car cleaning, are moving away from your own guns, and they're buying someone else's guns and sticking them on your unit. Now, if Karcher were clued up, they would spot that opportunity to go and make an affordable version of this product. I know they do guns, but they're not that great and they're really expensive. And because Karcher aren't interested, they're losing the market to all these other gun makers. So Karcher are a bit strange like that, as far as I can see. They've got the market at the moment. They've got the market in the UK, the mass market, and I think they're happy with that. But it's when your finger goes, or your eye, you take your eye off the ball, and you allow the competition to get in on your product and do things, that's when, and you don't cater for that. You need to be worried as a company when people are modifying your product because it's not good and everyone is modifying them. So Karcher, you need to wake up and get on board with these things. They won't. So into detailing, sell this. It's about 35 quid. It comes with the Karcher. You can specify if you're a Karcher user, and Imran will supply it with the Karcher adapter here. So you just, it pops straight onto your Karcher. Right? Why is that not working? There it goes. You need a bit of strength. Once you've done it once, it's good. So that's it. And above there, it has a swivel connect, so you can swivel. And it has the gun. I'm getting tired now. It's going to be a long video. Put this back. Down here I have the Flex VC21 vacuum cleaner, which is an upgrade on the Titan one that I was using. If you're on a complete budget, Wix used to sell you a Titan vacuum cleaner for 25 quid, which was half decent. The only bad side was the cheap hose, but it could take a hammering and it had really good suction. This is a step up from that. It's got some little nifty features on it. It's got a longer hose, better quality attachments, a proper filter system in it. That's the biggest difference. And a nice little plug on the front, so you can actually use this as like an extension lead and plug into the front of it, which is quite nice. It's not cordless though. So I bust that Hoover out, vacuum out, whenever I'm doing a proper detail on the car and you need the suck. You know, there's no jokes, no jokes. I've just looked up and I've missed a few things here. I've got a drawer full of brushes and brush attachments that you can see there for drills, for interiors. There's tons in there, some other wheel brushes. And I also have another one full of leather cleaning and refinishing kit. Okay, we've talked about all that kit. That's kind of quite specialised stuff. If you want a deep clean leather, I'll use the colour lock brush and the mild leather cleaner and deep clean it. Once the leather's been deep cleaned, then I can keep on top of it with Surfex down at 1 to 100, or just a damp wipe over, a little bit of APC because that leather does get a little greasy film. And breathe. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Right, over this way, John. Look at this camera. Much effort goes into this production. Mickey Mouse Production Incorporated. All right. I always have a couple of these empty ones. In an ideal world, I'll free up these two so they're empty, and I'll use these to store my dirty microfiber in, and when they're full I can take them out and wash them. So I haven't got to have these two unsightly bins on top. These always come in handy. I fill them up with water and I put my pads in there. applicators, sponge applicators. I've got a load of these. These are wax pack ones, I think. I don't even know if they still sell them. Just single piece, tapered, reasonable, nice quality, very soft foam, you know, just good applicators. These are the old Fleabay things. Don't know what happened to ZFE stores. They've disappeared off of eBay. That was like Aladdin's cave of cheap Chinese crap. And in that pile of cheap Chinese crap was always some good cheap Chinese crap. This was good cheap Chinese crap, and they were like about £1 each, as opposed to like 10 quid each. You know, we've done the whole subject on Chinese crap. The bottom line is, if you don't like supporting it, don't support it. Try and support local businesses. Try and support innovation. Very hard though, isn't it? Because everything's made in China. I have some cheap Chinese crap. Polishing cones. I have some good quality applicators. That Flex one, if ever I need to cover a car quickly, that's the one I go to. Real soft, and I can cover ground with it. I've got the Gion one. I've got all the gear. Got all the gear and no idea. That's to work with the Gion thing. I've got the Bilt Hamber one. These Adams ones are really good, really elite. So I've got some good applicators there. Give me now, spongy bastards. Right. Then I have microfiber applicators in here, ceramic applicators, lint-free cotton applicators for ceramics, magic erasers. You know, these I tend to use in interior for doing dashboards and stuff like that. Okay. My goodness, I'm just thinking, I'm going to do the links of the description. It's going to be like the 10 Commandments. It's going to go on for days. Drying towels. This is the Interdetailing Warp Knit double-sided drying towel. Very absorbent. All the little fibres in there twisted into little dense straws. Don't buff on this though, because it's quite a hard towel compared to something like this, which is a soft coral fleece towel. So twist knit, warp knit, whatever you want to call them, are hard towels. So you just drape them on the surface. You can gently pull them off, or just drape them on and lift them. And that gets 99% of that water soaked up. You know, which is how I need to be now managing and cleaning this car very carefully with these drying towels. Do not buff on the car, because if there's any bits of dirt or whatever, you're going to scratch. So that's the dual-sided warp knit towels. Use whatever drying towels you like. And then I have about 5 to 10 of these Supersaurus soft Korean towels that are little rectangles that you can dry cars with on their own. You get about 3 or 4 of them in dry a car if you like, but they're great for the door shuts, grills, lower areas like the skirts and stuff where you don't want to drag a big towel, or engine bays, and under the engine bay again where you don't want a big towel, where you want to do a bit of buffage. So that's drying towels. Oh, just careful. Glass cloths, premium waffle weaves from the Rag Company, still going, 5 or 6 years old. They look, that might be a newer one on top, but they look okay. They've got a little bit floppy. The quality of these though, it's just incredible really. The Fender Defender from the Rag Company, which I just use sometimes to cover glass up when I'm polishing. Nice, packs away all nice and thin. Wish it was a little bit bigger. Put it over doors as well if you want, the door seals when you're vacuuming. It's a protection, you know, to protect the paintwork. Halford's glass cleaning arm, which I think is really important, makes doing the interior a lot easier. And also, get out of it, I have these black snakeskin cloths called Black Diamonds that are Rag Company cloths as well. I'll stick the descriptions in the links. The links in the description. But I also am just experimenting with the old blue bog roll to do the glass, because it just saves me washing them. What I'm noticing is it's hard to get that final film off with the bog roll. You've got to use quite a lot of it actually. You get enough light there, you still find little bits. They're not as absorbent as microfiber, but it's close. I think I am going to stick with the bog roll going forward. And if I do, I'll probably eventually get rid of all my glass cleaning stuff. All my glass cleaning towels. In here, sponges. I've got the big red bastard. the big red sponge. I got the soft egg. I like all the product names. The soft 99 soft egg. What's this one? I got the Wilco 50p. Soft on the wallet. I've got the Chanel. What's this thing called? What is this thing? What's it called? Woolly Worm mitt, which is fine. I'm having a look at this one that's sold by Paragon Microfiber because it's just a two-sided thing. It's good, but it's very floppy. I think it will needs a sponge in the middle to give it some structure. I was just going to see if that's going to be better than my Kent car one. This one, because you can grip this. So when you're doing the side of the car, and if you can grip it properly, it means you don't have to push it and pin it onto the paintwork. So you can just control the pressure and that sounds. As you can tell, I've been thinking about all this stuff. So Chanel mitts, the way to go. I'm going to be a stone. I'm going to be exploring Chanel mitts specifically soon and looking for the ultimate Chanel mitt, because that's the way. See the future. All these other mitts, I'm going to be binning some of these now because I never use them. I was talking about this. I never use these Chinese mitts. I might use them for wheel cleaning every now and then. Don't tend to. I've got all these lovely Duca ones that are just so nice I don't want to use them. I've got the Duca wheel. I think that's a Duca one. I think it is a Duca one. Yeah, it's nice, but it goes a bit floppy in your hand when you get it all wet. It needs some elastic in there to keep it on your hand, or it just keeps slipping off. So perhaps you should get these little pads instead, the little wheel pads. They're so soft. These would be for high-end alloys, like where you're talking like carbon fibre Ferrari alloys, or like, you know, satin finish, very expensive stuff where you do not want to be going at it with nylon and poking it, and you want to use something very soft. Good mitt this, but it gets a lot of debris in it. Very good though, very nice that is. Very tempting, that mitt. The Microfiber Madness one, which is the easiest one to maintain in my opinion. Just like, this has been used a ton and you must be looking at it thinking it looks pretty new. It's just because it's very robust. And then I've got the old Duca, full Duca wash pads in there. Don't use any of these anymore. I have to have a think about clearing them all out. And in here I just keep foam, that's destructed foam. So that's for the tyres. I've got another block, that's for my dirt simulator. This is all messy foam for tyres. I've got some car seat covers and I've got some floor mat covers as well. You know, like the paper Auto Smart ones for when you're doing a car. Should have a few of those left over. Those I've got some, I've got a drawer right down the bottom. Let's just open that up. I've got Rag Company. Always talk about these amazing towels. Rag Company Edgeless 300s. And Rag Company Edgeless, I think these are 365s or 360s. Phenomenal. And they're AliExpress blocks as well. This is good microfiber, this stuff. Check out these Edgeless 300s for an all-purpose towel. Incredible. Imran's 350 GSM. Imran's 350 GSM cloths that I've talked about loads. Amazing. £1.65 when you buy 10. These are open pile cloths, so the softest things, softest, plushest cloths that you can get is these sort of open pile cloths. Just incredible. You need to maintain them though. You can't just have a dirty old drawer full of them and expect them to do the thing. Use them for removing polish or maybe a soft wax and you won't have any problems. I have 2 drawers and some more in the cupboards of these 350 GSM edgeless towels that I bought direct from Alibaba. And I didn't even get them from Alibaba actually, I got direct from the manufacturer. You won't be able to buy them. If you want a similar cloth, get the Edgeless 365 or Edgeless 300 or any other dual pile cloth that's around 350 GSM. Lovely cloths. Some spare polishing stuff that I use in here, just some Show Concepts pads, orange, purple, the blue cutting pads, very nice. Very weird but very nice, very stiff but soft on the surface and fine pores, which is unusual for an aggressive cutting pad. And they're full on white spider pads with the slots in them. If you really want to get into that paintwork and hit it as hard as you can, you get those going. All sorts of pads. Now these are the main pads that I use. The flex pads. These have become very, very popular now. You've got 4 colour codes: green, purple, orange, red. So green's the most aggressive, then purple, then orange, then red. So orange is polishing, red is ultra fine polishing or finishing. 99% of the time, if you want to just cut paint, cut out swirls, minor defects, polishing, detailing cars, these will work with heavy cutting compounds or mid-range compounds on medium to firm paint. So you cut with these most of the time, but you can also single stage with them, and they will finish out great on most paint types, and you won't have any machine marring. Really good. That's the reason they're good, that they can finish out well, but they also take a hammering. They really do. These last, I think, I haven't proven this, I shouldn't say that, but I think they last a lot longer. I was going to say twice as long as other pads. Use whatever pads you like. This is what I use. The downside is they're quite expensive, but I think you get that money back. Very good. Love them. They don't have any slots in them, but for some reason Flex have put these little slats in the green pads, and I don't like the slats. I wish they didn't bother with that. I don't believe in it. I don't buy in it that it's doing anything, other than I see the pad surface get distorted quicker on these green pads than the purples without the slats. I wish they didn't do that. But anyway, what do I know? I love the pads. The orange pads are the ones that you can single stage with on medium to soft paints, where you might be getting a bit of marring with the purples. Very unlikely. But if you want a slightly softer pad, you go with the orange. The minimum you would need really is 2 pads, purple and orange. Or if you know you've got like hardish German paint, and you just want 1 pad, you go with the purples. If you know you've got Japanese car and you just want 1 pad, you go with the orange, etc. You're limiting yourself. If you've got like aftermarket nightmare soft paint that's difficult to finish out, you'd go with these reds. Now, the flex pads come in 4 sizes: the 6-inch, the 5-inch, the 3-inch, and the 1-inch spot pads. So I've showed you the 5-inch and the 6-inch in there, believe it or not. These are 5-inch. Here's the 3-inch. And here, you see all those? Here's all the 1-inch spot pads. Oh, look how organised I am. Look at that. And I bought this proper pad brush. I also have random cones to use with my polishing machines, which I'll show you later on. That's what I mean about the surface distorting if you've got those slits in it. And without the slits, it stays much better. So I've also got cones to go with one of my polishers to do under the door cards. Loads of these pads. Phenomenal. Phenomenal pads. Love them. But that's everything here. Okay, let's move on. So that's all my pads. God, that's another 24 minutes. This video is going to be like 2 hours. My goodness me. This is unusual for YouTube. Who says no one's going to have made it this long? If you've made it this long, put in the comments, "I'm still alive, John, I'm still alive." If I don't hear from you, I know you're not. Right, I'm going to move over to the final thing. Okay, last but not least, power tools, machine polishers. Right, I mainly use Flex because I want to go cordless, and no other company offers me a full suite of cordless polishers. They might have one or part of the puzzle, but I want a cordless main tool and a cordless mini. So my weapon of choice, my main axe. That's what the guitarists say about their weapon. My main axe. It's a real like dorky dodgeball type thing to say that. So my main weapon of choice is the Flex XCE forced rotation cordless. I've been using this tool for a while now, and I've got nothing bad to say about this tool other than it's just, I love it. And it's what I like to polish paint with, for all the reasons that I've gone into, that I can get it in there when I'm going over little divots and stuff. It's not stalling out in in the valleys, And I combo it up with this little nano tool, which you can just about get away with polishing with as well. Yes, it doesn't have the power of a corded 3-inch mini like this DA12. This has a lot more power, but this, I just unclip the 3-inch DA attachment and I've got a spot pad attachment for rotaries, and I can do little spot work, and I can put extension bars on it so I can get right into areas. I can put this on it which supports the cones so I can go under the doors, under the door handles. Such a great tool, that PXE80. Brilliant tool. I'm just trying to think of balancing it up with the negatives. Don't like the digital controls, and you have to reach. It's not in reach of your thumb, so I'd want the control here somewhere, or somewhere. Just a little slight gripe with that buttons. I'm not too keen on. Such a great tool though, and once you get it going, you get polishing with it. And I love using the 3-inch mini on it as well, as long as you're not asking it to do too much, you know, in terms of correction. It is a little nano tool primarily, but very great tool that is. Love that. Now, not so keen on the Flex X FE. I've barely used this tool. I've barely used it. Just find it doesn't have the capability. It's compromised. Flex are focused, I think, on giving you battery optimization, so you can get a good stint of battery use out of this, and limited the top speed of it. So you have to polish with a certain technique when you're using this, and you can't really push into the paint and go hell for leather to try and cut with it. So you have to be a bit more patient. Just not quite the same amount of capability. I mean, Flex call it the finisher, and that probably is what it's best at doing. You have other corded options. This is a fantastic tool from DeWalt, the 848. A bit heavier than the Flex. They've gone the other way. You can crank this right up. You will get cane through the battery, and you can't round robin 2 batteries on 1 charger, and I verified that the other day. So you either get 2 chargers, or you have downtime, or you get bigger batteries, but I'm not sure. I haven't verified the bigger batteries. You can force into the paintwork with this, crank up at higher speeds, and it won't stall as much as the Flex. Really good Tonka hardcore tool this is, and I really like it. I'm not not a free spinning guy, but I like using this tool. What's the other problem? The one thing I didn't pick up in the review on this DeWalt, and I put it through the mill and told you every single negative that I could come up with, which is just how I like to do it, as well as positives, is yes, when the battery seems to run down a little bit, even after 10 minutes, there isn't a difference in power between like top speed and like you can keep cranking it down and the machine isn't slowing down. Someone else picked up on that in the comments. You're right, yeah, it does do that. So I just tend to, you just use it, what it gives you. That's the only option you've got. So that's probably something to do with the battery. But I think that's a really good tool, that DeWalt, and the price point is good, especially if you've already got DeWalt batteries. A real contender. I'd love to see DeWalt come into play a bit more, give us some micro options, nano polishers and 3-inch minis, and get involved in the detailing thing, because they could be a major player. I don't use this too much anymore. This is the Flex P14-2 150 rotary polisher. Probably the best rotary on the market. It's so light, it's so compact, the form of it. Just a lovely polisher, amazing. I should use it more actually, because if you don't use it for a while, you use it again and you suddenly forget how to use it. Use it or lose it. And I've got a P8-4, a mini rotary, which I haven't used for a long time. I'm using XCE and PXE. I have the Flex blower, which on paper is expensive, doesn't have much airflow through it, pretty low compared to all these other detailing specific blowers which are like, it's what I use now, and I spent the money on the big boy blower. I find it's too powerful, the big boy blower, and it kicks up dust everywhere in my garage. So unless you've got a detailing studio that's dust free, you need to be careful about blowing with too much air. And this thing, for me, I found is ideal because it's just it doesn't kick up dust everywhere, and I can just use it without a cord to just blow out the door jambs, in the door crevices, the grills, even my alloys, the tyres, without creating a dust cloud. So that's become an important tool for me. It didn't review well. It doesn't review well, and I think people would underestimate this tool and say it's too expensive. Yes, you can go and buy a cheap Mickey Mouse Tesco's blower. There's cordless ones for like 20 or 30 quid if you want that. But I don't want a wall of flex tools and then a Mickey Mouse, Tesco's blower in there. So I've paid the money, and it's nice. I love my little wall of tools. That is it. I've got, in these cupboards down here, I have the special reserves. I have the Gion stuff. The Gionize my car. I don't need it. If I wasn't into detailing, would I have ever explored it? Possibly. I love it though. I love that Gion stuff. It's so good. It's one of the few things that I keep because I think they get it right. They get it right. Not all their products are the best on the market, but that's the same with Bilt Hamber. That's the same with Koch. No one has that unanimous across the board superiority. But I think Gion have some really good protection products, but they understand detailing, and I think they're a company to watch, and I think they're a company that could be a contender. I always see detailing brands as racehorses. I think Gion could be a contender to be like, a champion brand and make it all the way to the top and challenge the big guys the way they're going, because they understand marketing, branding, presentation of products, the excitement of what people feel when they get into detailing. Gion capture all of that for me, and they're very desirable products. Now, 99% of you are not going to want a wall of tools, okay? When you get old, you have no life. You get a lot of pleasure. Once you get to my age, you've done all the partying, you've done all the nightclub stuff, you've done it all. Those days are behind you. You've got to find something else to replace it, to give you that kick, that buzz. And it's power tools for me. For those of you that are still out partying with a life and need to save your money for spending £10 on a bottle of like Heineken in some dodgy club in Covent Garden, probably about £15 a bottle now. Something like this, the DA8 dual action polisher, that's £100, has more power than the entry level 50 quid ones that you can get from Argos, so you can cut with it as well, do everything with it. That's what you probably want to be buying, the DA8 from Into Detailing. Great little polisher, I've talked about it. Check out the review on the channel. If you want to take a step up from that, where you have a long throw polisher, a big one and a short one, a combo. So you do most of your big panels with that. You do your front bumpers and your wings and the smaller areas with the Mini. Then you go with the DA15 and the DA12. I think Imran's been selling these for about a year now. The only issue I've ever witnessed with this was the one that Fresh Layers bought. It sort of started stalling, like cutting out the power. And it was the brush. It was this little brush. See that bit there? You unscrew that, and there's like a little brake pad in there. It's a brush which makes contact with the motor, and I think it just clipped it. The brake pad cracked, and then it wasn't touching the motor, so the machine was stalling out. So we just took it out, and you get a spare brushes with these. Put the new one in, and it was fine. So I think these machines are pretty reliable. Great price, nice form, nice integrated rubberized bale. Check out the reviews on them. What's the difference between cheap tools and expensive ones? The expensive ones are smoother. Is the main thing. They have, the flex tools have microprocessor controls in their cordless, in their corded versions and stuff like that. Might be build quality slightly higher. So it's always, you pay a bit more money for all of that sort of quality. If you're on a budget, then you go with the Chinese stuff. That's just the way of the world, isn't it, nowadays? So you can decide you're the masters of your own wallet. We've got to wrap this video up. Oh, damn, quick. I wanted to end it with a quick shot of my wallet. That would have been a nice way to finish it. Where's the wallet? Where is my wallet? Oh, it was here. So this video is all about looking after the wallet. The wallet. It's the sacred wallet. You can end up spending a fortune on all this detailing stuff. how much stuff you have and what you spend is up to you, but most of the stuff that I'm showing you here is like good value stuff, not all of the cheapest on the market, as you can see. So I'm slowly like improving. My bar is going up slowly. It's taken me a long time, and yeah, but you don't have to spend as much as I've spent, or you could spend more. It's up to you. Hope this has given you some ideas. The key premise, I'll stick everything in the description, but the key premise is do not think you're missing out because you don't have the chemicals or the tooling that I'm using. How good your car looks is down to really how much time you have and how much time you can put into it and how much care you take. You know, don't do anything stupid when you're washing it. You could wash it with very cheap chemicals and very simple products and still have an amazing finish on your car. So it's all down to you. It's all down to how much time you've got, how much you want to spend. I get enjoyment out of it, you know that. I love it. So when you get to my age, as I just said, your drinking days, your clubbing days, you've been there, you've done that. It is time to do something different, and you get a lot of enjoyment out of sitting in your garage talking a load of old nonsense about how to clean your car. The good thing is, if you're watching this video, you haven't gone that far as me. You've still got a chance to escape and keep your life. Run, run. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when